He crashed on his first F1 lap, now he's replacing Sergio Perez. Red Bull just confirmed Isack Hadjar as Max Verstappen's new teammate for 2026. And the real reason behind this shock decision? Leaked data that blew the paddock apart. Subscribe now, because Red Bull's future just changed forever, and it starts with Hadjar. The Formula One world didn't see this coming. Isack Hadjar, the 21-year-old Red Bull junior who began the year with a crash on his first formation lap in Australia, has now been chosen to replace Sergio Perez at Red Bull Racing in 2026. It's one of the boldest driver decisions the team has made since they promoted a young Max Verstappen a decade ago, and it's already sending shockwaves across the grid. What makes this move so explosive isn't just the timing. It's the context. Perez is out after a rocky campaign full of missed opportunities, while Red Bull had several safer options to choose from, including proven race winners and seasoned juniors like Liam Lawson. But instead of going with experience, they've gone all in on Hadjar, a driver known more for raw speed than polished results. And it's not just symbolic, it's strategic. Behind the scenes, Red Bull engineers had been analyzing detailed telemetry from every junior driver across the 2025 season. According to leaked data, Hadjar consistently came within 3/10 of the theoretical best lap on the simulator, a margin Verstappen himself regularly matches. That stat caught the eye of technical boss Pierre Watch, who reportedly pushed for Hadjar's name when internal discussions heated up post-Zandvoort. Zandvoort. That's where it all flipped. On a drenched Dutch Sunday, Hadjar managed to take his underpowered Racing Bulls car from 12th to 4th and nearly snagged a podium by overtaking Alonso and Sainz in the final laps. He didn't get lucky with a safety car or pit strategy. He did it on pure instinct and timing. That's when Red Bull realized they might be watching their next weapon for the 2026 reset. With the regulation changes looming, Red Bull doesn't just need talent, they need adaptability. The 2026 cars will handle like nothing we've seen before, with over 50% electric power, active aero systems, and aggressive power unit mapping. They want a driver who can grow into that chaos, not one limited by legacy habits. And Hadjar, with only one season under his belt, brings that clean slate. Verstappen, meanwhile, has reportedly given his quiet approval. While he's never needed a teammate to help him dominate, Red Bull knows the balance in the garage is delicate. Verstappen demands professionalism, sharp feedback, and zero drama. Sources inside the team say Hadjar's driving style, feedback loop, and simulator work all align more naturally with Max than either Tsunoda or Lawson. That compatibility may prove critical in developing the 2026 RB22. So now the future is clear, at least on paper. Red Bull isn't playing it safe. They're going aggressive, young, and fast. Hadjar has been given a career-defining shot, and Verstappen, whether he likes it or not, has a new teammate who's not just there to follow. He's there to learn, to fight, and maybe, just maybe, to one day challenge. This isn't just a promotion. It's Red Bull's next era, and it starts now. From the outside, it might look like Red Bull took a wild gamble on youth. But internally, their decision was driven by cold data. Hadjar's season in the Racing Bulls was dissected across thousands of data points: lap delta stability, sector variance, long-run degradation, and energy deployment control. In every single category tied to adaptability under pressure, Hadjar ranked higher than both Tsunoda and Lawson. Red Bull's engineers don't care about height, they care about raw potential, and the data backed Hadjar. One stat that stood out in particular: simulator efficiency. Hadjar managed to extract 96% of the theoretical optimal performance from the Red Bull sim environment. That's near Verstappen territory. When combined with low error margins and precise digital feedback loops, the Red Bull technical team realized they had a driver who could speak the same language as Verstappen, a rare trait that reduces development delays and improves car direction. And then came the Racekraft. While Hadjar lacked podiums, his on-track overtakes were ranked by internal metrics as some of the cleanest in the field. His passes on Alonso and Sainz at Zandvoort weren't just bold, they were executed with perfect brake pressure management and zero tire lockups. In Baku, he climbed from P18 to P7 without a single track limits warning. That discipline under pressure showed Red Bull that he didn't just have raw speed. He had race IQ. Tsunoda, by comparison, struggled under the spotlight. Once placed in the main team, he suffered in qualifying, missing Q3 4 times in 5 races, and his race stints were often hampered by aggressive tire wear. Lawson, while more consistent, failed to show the killer edge the team demands in wheel-to-wheel moments. Hadjar, in contrast, was fearless, not reckless, and that fine line is exactly what Helmut Marko has always admired in drivers like Verstappen and Vettel. Another overlooked factor was feedback rhythm. According to internal sources, Hadjar's debriefs were sharp, concise, and aligned with simulation projections. That alignment cuts hours from post-session analysis, a major win for engineering teams. While Tsunoda often struggled to translate feel into data-backed commentary, Hadjar impressed team analysts by diagnosing balance issues within 2 laps of each stint. That fast learning curve is invaluable as Red Bull prepares for the most complex car in modern history. Off-track, Hadjar didn't just tick boxes, he built trust. He spent more sim hours than any other junior, often staying late into the night at Milton Keynes. When not racing, he shadowed Verstappen's data engineers, taking notes on energy deployment maps and aero sensitivity trends. The impression he left internally wasn't just of a young driver with speed, it was of a student of the system, hungry to understand every layer of performance. All of this converged into one clear picture: Hadjar wasn't the safe choice. He was the correct one. Red Bull didn't need another seat warmer. They needed someone who could survive, adapt, and evolve next to Verstappen, and maybe even push him. That takes more than experience. It takes raw processing speed, humility, and fire. And in 2025, Isack Hadjar proved he had all 3. The 2026 season will introduce one of the most radical technical shifts Formula One has seen in decades. For Red Bull, it marks the debut of the RB22, a machine built entirely in-house, not just aerodynamically, but from a power unit perspective as well. Partnering with Ford, Red Bull Powertrains has developed a brand new hybrid engine that complies with the FIA's 2026 regulations: no MGUH, increased electrical deployment, and much more torque-driven unpredictability. Hadjar isn't just stepping into a new car, he's stepping into a car nobody has driven before. Without the MGUH, the turbocharger system loses its traditional lag suppression. For young drivers who grew up in the hybrid era, that absence will be jarring. Instant throttle response will be gone. Energy management will take center stage, with drivers needing to manually balance electrical deployment and engine revs on corner exits. For Hadjar, learning this balancing act will be essential. Verstappen is already accustomed to working around these variables in sim sessions. Hadjar will need to catch up fast. Adding to that complexity is the new active aero framework. Both the front and rear wings of the 2026 cars will adapt dynamically depending on speed, throttle input, and even car yaw. This isn't just a DRS-style system anymore, it's a fully integrated aerodynamic brain that constantly shifts the car's behavior mid-corner. Drivers must develop a sixth sense for how the car's downforce balance evolves every tenth of a second. If Hadjar can't internalize this quickly, he'll bleed lap time to Verstappen every weekend. Red Bull's chassis philosophy is notoriously unforgiving. Ever since 2022, the team has favored a stiff rear end, ultra-sensitive front, and precise load transfer that rewards those who brake late and rotate early. Verstappen thrives in this razor-sharp handling window. For Hadjar, that could be either a natural fit or a trap. His Formula 2 style was built around trail braking and mid-corner rotation, but the RB22 may not tolerate heavy brake modulation unless perfectly timed. The 2026 cars will also have different weight distribution, largely due to changes in battery placement and crash structure regulations. That shift pushes more load rearward, making the car more unstable on corner entry. For Hadjar, it means recalibrating everything from steering input to how he warms the front tires on out laps. These are the kinds of subtleties that make or break a second driver at Red Bull, especially when Verstappen gets it right from day one. Tire management will play an even bigger role. Pirelli is introducing new compounds designed to handle the increased electric torque and active aero-induced load shifts. The new rubber encourages wider slip angles but punishes heat spikes with blistering. Verstappen's known for his tire whispering. Hadjar will have to master not just clean laps, but smart laps, managing tire surface temps without radio micromanagement, lap after lap. Lastly, let's talk about data workload. With the 2026 cars being so digitally complex, Red Bull drivers will be responsible for analyzing their own energy deployment maps between sessions. Engineers won't just spoon-feed feedback anymore. Drivers must process complex overlays, correlate GPS traces with telemetry, and suggest changes proactively. Verstappen is already a master at this. Hadjar will need to match that level of self-diagnosis, or risk being left behind in the team's development loop.